I'm Pawan Agarwal, Chief Executive Officer of Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. As Food Authority, we are responsible for ensuring availability of safe and wholesome food for the citizens. And in recent times, we have started work on fortification by setting standards on fortification and by notifying a logo that will suggest that a certain food is fortified. Food fortification is about mixing very small quantities of micronutrients including vitamins in staple food primarily, but also in all kinds of food, so that micronutrient deficiencies can be addressed. And food fortification has been used as a scalable and cost effective strategy across the world to address the issue of micronutrient deficiencies for decades. Food fortification is not new to India. In fact, way back in 1953, we started with fortification of vanaspati hydrogenated edible oil with vitamin A and D. And then later in 1960s, we started our program for fortification of salt with iodine. And our iodized salt program has been extremely successful. Currently, we are targeting 5 staples for fortification. We are talking in terms of fortification of salt with iron, in addition to iodine, as is already happening. We are talking of fortification of edible oil, milk, wheat, flour and rice. Main challenge with fortification is around alignment of supply and demand. You know, when you talk to manufacturers and suppliers, they suggest that there is no demand, and when you talk to the consumers, they say there are no supplies of fortified food. So, to ensure that it happens, they first and foremost there should be a fortified food that is available in the marketplace, and then the consumers have to be educated that it is fortified and it is good for them. So, alignment of demand and supply is the key element to ensure fortification efforts are successful, particularly in the open market. And to a large extent, this also applies to government programs, because in government programs you have tendering at different levels, and unless there are adequate number of suppliers of fortified commodities, those tenders are often not successful, and therefore, there is a reluctance on part of public authorities to take up fortification efforts. At the government level, there is by and large consensus that government programs, ICDS, midday meal scheme, PDS, they are easy targets, and we should ensure supply of fortified food in all these programs. Now, implementing it at the field level, we face variety of challenges. In case of ICDS, most of the procurement is happening at the local level, often at micro levels, and there, unless the authorities who are doing the procurement have local supplies of fortified food, by that means that fortified food should be available in the local markets, so that they can procure it. And this is a major challenge. Unless we can aggregate these requirements and make supplies centrally and ensure that they are then made available at various ICDS centers, we may not have success. And we are trying to look at possibilities of how this can be done at a kitchen level. In some areas where there are big kitchens where ICDS food is processed and supplied, it is easy to do. In other places where small kitchens are there, it will be far more difficult to happen. Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and even Uttar Pradesh. These states have taken up fortification in a big way in government programs, and we are finding traction in other states as well now, Goa, Karnataka, West Bengal. So, we can see that across the country, many states are now coming forward and looking at possibilities of fortified food in the government programs. The work that has been done over the years by development partners and the positive media attention that fortification efforts have received has already created a consensus amongst government departments that this is something that should be pursued. So, it has not been very difficult to bring everyone onto the table as far as fortification effort is concerned, and particularly when you talk of taking up these efforts on in principle basis. But when it comes to details, then there are challenges, and that is precisely why we have set up the Food Fortification Resource Centre to look at micro challenges that are faced by various stakeholders in taking up fortification efforts, and then learning from experience of some of the states that how they have been able to address those challenges and let the other states know about it. So, I think that way there is a key role that this Food Fortification Resource Centre that we have established under the FSSAI that plays, and that brings all the stakeholders onto a common platform. These are early days, and but I must say that the response of various stakeholders, including the state governments, district administrations, has been extremely positive. Food Fortification Resource Centre is essentially to bring different stakeholders on a common platform. In its governance, we are trying to create a governance structure that brings in different stakeholders in its governance, and in its implementation we are involving the development partners who have already been working in the food fortification space for decades, and also various kind of skills that different stakeholders bring onto the table, so that they are shareable across the nation by various people. We begin our engagement in the space of fortification by notifying standards on fortified food, and even before we brought out those standards, some of the references on fortification existed in different standards for staple. Objective of bringing them all together under one regulation and giving a promotional role to FSSAI to promote fortification, and also to notify a logo for fortified food, became a rallying point for fortification in the country. But as we move forward, we need to ensure quality assurance and monitor that these staples are fortified as per standards. There is no misuse of our standards, and secondly, we have to continue to fine tune our standards depending on the feedback that we receive from the studies on the impact of fortified food on nutrition for our population. So, these will continue to be our challenges on a long term basis beyond 2 or 3 years.